Jose Mourinho's return to the Stamford Bridge was quite a dramatic one for him. An emotional return to the the Stamford Bridge, if I should put it, after a very long time having not coached Chelsea. So the last time he was there was in the 2015-16 season after he had won the league with them the previous season, and then he failed to replicate that match. So after coaching Fenerbahce, Tottenham Hotspurs, AS Roma, Manchester United, Jose Mourinho returned to Benfica, where he spoke about the fact that, he really wants to make a mark with this team. And it's not really about the money, because there were some speculations about the fact that he's earning £30 million over 2 years after he signed that Benfica contract. But he's come out to actually refute and debunk all those claims, saying that he's just joined Benfica because he feels he can win something with Benfica. So, he makes an emotional return to the Stamford Bridge in the UEFA Champions League to face Chelsea. Now, in close to 20 games that Jose Mourinho has faced Chelsea since he joined them in his first stint, he's only won 4 times. So it tells you that it's always difficult for him to play against Chelsea. Now, he makes an emotional return to the Stamford Bridge, where everyone is thinking, it's Jose Mourinho. And he even spoke in a pre-match presser that, he has Chelsea in his blood. Chelsea have got Jose Mourinho in their blood. He made Chelsea a bigger team. Chelsea made Jose Mourinho a bigger manager. And he's won so much with Chelsea. And Jose Mourinho can rant. He knows how to run his mouth. When it comes to games like this, that is what he does. He's a master, tactician. But then also, the psychological aspect of the game is something that he's mastered so well. So, as I quoted earlier on, he spoke about the fact that Chelsea, has Jose Mourinho in their DNA, and Jose Mourinho has also got Chelsea in his DNA. But it's just not about Chelsea and Jose Mourinho, because one of the things I realized about that game was the fact that Jose Mourinho was trying to pull or even take away that attention and pressure on the Benfica team away from the players onto himself. So it's more like Chelsea against Jose Mourinho than Chelsea against Benfica. So that was what actually happened that game. But then after 90 minutes, it was Chelsea that won by a lone goal. And it was, Rios who just converted or even latched that ball into his own net after Alejandro Garnacho had just cut back, onto the part of that Benfica defender. So that was all Chelsea could hold on to in a game where you'd be thinking that, it was a fairly even or matched game. But then I also think that Benfica were just not fortunate enough, looking at the kind of investment and then also performance they put up in that game against Chelsea. So after 90 minutes, it was a Benfica defender, that midfielder who also managed to get a ball in his own net. That's Richard Rios, who managed to get a ball at the back of his own net to ensure that Jose Mourinho would not win for the 5th time as a manager or an opposing manager playing against Chelsea. It was a fair game, but then for Chelsea, they might still want to tag themselves with a world champions tag, which I don't think they really deserve, because you cannot tell me that because you are world champions in a tournament that was played over 7 games, and that was the most number of games any team could have played when they made it, or if they had made it to the final. So it's the fact that Chelsea still believes, or they are living in a certain, if I would say, undeniable state that they believe that they are world champions. But then for me, I believe, football in Europe and even in the Premier League is more or much more competitive than Chelsea are thinking. So in the game, Chelsea played well. They got themselves a 1-0 win. But you ask yourself, what was the performance of Chelsea in that game? Because they were also coming back, or coming into this game at the back of a 3-1 defeat to Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League. And then, that same scoreline in the UEFA Champions League on Monday 1 against Bayern Munich, where they just couldn't play so well, and Bayern Munich toppled them by 3-1. But if you're entering a game against Benfica, and also a side led by Jose Mourinho, who is a legend of the game, a man who actually started this dynasty or this, great Chelsea team. He was a man who actually propelled Chelsea to what they are today. You should come with your A game. For Chelsea, yes, they had Tariq George, they had Alejandro Garnacho, there was Pedro Neto, Enzo Fernandez, there was Moise Caicedo, and then also Facundo Bonanotti. I just don't think they played well enough, honestly, and that's the reason why they lost to Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League. I just feel Chelsea are playing well, and this is my own opinion. I just believe they are playing well, but then with the level on which they are playing, they'll need to elevate it if they want to get to the level of Barcelona, PSG, or even some of the most elite clubs in Europe. I feel they are good enough. Yes, they are playing some exciting football. But then, come on, this is Benfica. Now, let's not forget that Benfica also lost on Monday 1 in the UEFA Champions League to Karabakh of Azerbaijan by 2 or 3 goals to 2, where they are taking the lead by a 2-goal margin. And then they relinquished it later in that game, losing 3-2. So for Jose Mourinho, yes, I don't think this is a defeat that brings pressure on him, especially when the hierarchy looks at the performance that he put up. But then I just believe that Chelsea have not been good enough. They've not been flamboyant and then also impressive in the games they've played. And it's a good win for them. They'll take it. They'll cherish that 3 points. But then they need to up their game. It was not a bad, day at the office for Enzo Maresca and his charges. You look at the defense made up of Marco Cucurella, there's Badiashile, Benoit, there's Chaluba, and then also Malo Gusto. Chelsea are blowing hot and cold, but then for this win, perhaps this is what actually ignites them to do greater things this season. They've not really impressed me. I've not really been impressed with Chelsea or even by their performances. But then you would take this if you're a Chelsea fan, believing that Jose Mourinho do not have anything against Chelsea. Yeah, he tried to play the mind games that he's made Chelsea the bigger club they are today, and Chelsea made him the bigger manager he is. But then it's not always going to be Chelsea against Jose Mourinho. And I'll congratulate Chelsea. But if you're a Chelsea fan, let me also hear from you. Do you think that the performance by this team, against Benfica was okay, and at least it just buries those bad performances against Bayern and then also Brighton and Hove Albion, and you think that Chelsea still could be counted as one of the top 5 teams to win this season's UEFA Champions League?